So today you should have received a link to download some materials. If you weren't able to download them or haven't had an opportunity, don't worry. I'll go ahead and put that back up where you can download the information from your file share. Today I am going to be sharing my computer screen, and I'm going to be using the PowerPoint. So in each of these squares, basically, we have what's called a file share, the file share pod, and then we also have a pod that's for the um, PowerPoint. And at any time, if you would like to see those larger, you can simply click on the full screen button, and it will make that particular pod full screen, so it's easier for you to see. So you'll be able to toggle between either the PowerPoint or the sharing my computer. Few minutes. Today, what we're going to talk about, we're going to briefly cover getting everyone set up in the Workforce Professionals Pathway, because that is how they access the resources to assist not only when the webinar is originally for summer use, and that's going to be our primary focus, but it can also be used with other customers as well. So we want to make sure that everyone is set up properly in the workforce pathway so that they can access these tools. Then we'll talk about the updates to our customer groups and some of the resources and some of the changes that are coming that are in the pipeline for to be released very soon. And then we'll also talk about staying in the information loop so that you can make sure that you're up to date on all of the resources and changes that are in process. So just real quickly to start out, it's really important that everyone is set up properly within the Workforce Professionals Pathway. We want to make sure, whenever you set up your site, that your organization information is correct. It's important because this information is used within your customer groups. It's used when you're communicating using the email and messages through your customer groups. In some cases, some sites are required to complete reporting and so forth. But another item that it will affect is the assessment component. So we have some assessments that are in the works to be released through Illinois WorkNet, and so it is important that you are set up properly and you're associated with the correct location. If you know that that's available on the Workforce Professionals Pathway, um, it is important that you're aware of the resources that are available for setting up not only just partners, but your resource rooms. We have instructions, and we also have a wizard tool that can help you with setting up Illinois WorkNet as your default homepage if you would like. And then that will help with, you can track your usage in Illinois WorkNet. If that's not an option for your location, we have other resources and instructions for having Illinois WorkNet as an icon on your desktop, and also information about adding a graphic and a link to Illinois WorkNet from your website. So those are some options that are available for you. Everyone by your Illinois WorkNet coordinator or Illinois WorkNet manager, and this affects the tools and resources that you have that are available to you through Illinois WorkNet. So if there's ever a reason that you think that you need to have a higher user role, pretty much everyone it should have a public viewer access There's only a few exceptions that you need a higher user role than that. But if you would like to learn more about that, you can take a look at the user role matrix. And also, we also have added a page on the Workforce Professionals Pathway how to request access to those tools. Also, for those that are new to Illinois WorkNet, it's important that you complete the Illinois WorkNet online course. Now that I say that, of course, the current course will only be available until June 17th. After that, we are taking it down, but we have a replacement, and it will still be a single sign-on through Illinois WorkNet. It will still be a self-paced, web-based you have a Workforce Professionals account. If you're not already, if you haven't already completed the course, you'll be prompted to complete the online course. We also, for the additional courses, whether it's content management or the business services, this will also allow you to self-register for those additional modules. The recertification is simply a test instead of a course. So if you are up to date on the resources within an Illinois WorkNet, it should only take you a matter of minutes as opposed to an hour or 2 hours to complete the recertification course. And upon completion of the foundation courses, you will still earn a continuing education unit through Southern Illinois University. If you are new to the resources pathway or the resources within the Illinois Workforce Professionals Pathway, we have all different to your current processes. As I mentioned before, on your home page, which is also called your dashboard, we have an area where you can request more tools, and that's where you're going to access your customer groups and also your other personalization tools. We also have marketing materials that are available, so if you'd like to use the Illinois WorkNet logo or brochures, postcards, business cards, quick tips, any certain particular graphics. Those are all available on the Workforce Professionals Pathway on the marketing page, and all you have to do is click on the marketing page and agree to the use and terms. And we want you to take a look at the graphic guidelines so you know how to use the marketing materials appropriately to maintain a consistent message and look and feel for all the Illinois WorkNet partners. So those resources are available for you to download and to use. So before we get in and take an actual look at some of the updates Professionals Pathway, and it's available so that you can work with your customers and they can complete different activities and assessments within their account. Those results are saved within so you'll be able to look at their customer interest inventories, their work readiness activity responses, and different assessments that we are continuing, that we're working on. Now, a Workforce Professionals account can now automatically have access to customer groups. So there's no extra step, extra process for requesting and receiving authorization to use a customer group. Those people that can be in customer groups, the requirement Today we're going to look at the process for using the invitation tool for your personal group. So you can do this, you can access this tool by going to your Workforce Professionals account and logging in. And let me zoom in here a little bit. On your dashboard or your home page, you will see on the left-hand side a tab for customer groups. And right now it says new. We're going to be migrating your a link here that says activate your customer group. To do that, you just simply click on the link and it will automatically take you over to your customers tab, and you won't see anybody because it will be the first time that you've used this. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to click on my view all customers in my personal group. And on the customer tab, you can invite customers to your personal group. So we have a couple different ways to do this. Let's say you have an individual that you know that you would like to add to your group and you have their email address. So let me go ahead and type in an email address. Okay, so an invitation was sent to Pam WorkNet, and it said, I get my green box at the top that it was sent successfully. So let's go over to Pam's email, and I'm going to refresh the page. And I have a personal group invitation. So whenever I open up the email, then I see that it says, please accept the invitation to join my WorkNet group, basically. This will allow me to provide responses and offer, suggest free workplace skill assessments to meet your employment goals. Know that it is a legitimate site. Whenever they click on the link to automatically log them into their Illinois WorkNet account and navigate to the invitation page. Oops, sorry, I was already logged in here. Let me see if it'll not remember me. I'm in here. Okay, well, we'll take a look at it in just a minute. Whenever I was already logged in, but whenever I come to the page, the link that I just clicked on, I'll be prompted to either log into my account. The other approach, let's just say, for example, maybe you have either an individual that doesn't have an email account, or you're going to be setting up an orientation, or you're going to be in a classroom environment. Workshop, you can set up a group invitation. And when you set up a group invitation, you will set up a passcode and a title and a description. Okay, so my passcode, I'm going to click on the little passcode, and it tells me that the passcode is not case sensitive, but it must be between 5 and 25 characters in today's the 15th and 2011. And today we're going to do this for a workshop and my workshop description. Now, whenever you'll want to actually put in a meaningful title and a description. new passcode. So if you have a workshop coming up or you're going to have your group coming into your classroom environment, then what you'll want to do is make sure you set up your passcode and once I hit submit, then it says I've successfully created my group invitation. What I can do in advance is I can print these out and either hand them out at my workshop or include it in the packet of information that they will receive on the screen, and I can tell and and then enter your password. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to open up a new window, so hopefully it doesn't recognize that I was already logged in. Let me do that. And I'm going when I go to the web page, I'm either prompted to log into my account. My password, I can click on Get Password. Let me go ahead and do that. To enter the customer code, it's not case sensitive. For your classroom environment, then you can give them the piece of paper and they can take it with them, go to your resource room. Invitation, and once they accept the invitation, then they're they've been sent to the activities, and this is how your activities can help you. Now that I have added I've submitted my information, my group has seen it, maybe they were in a computer lab and everybody entered their information and accepted, I can close my invitation. That PAM worknet was added. So that is how you can simply use the invitation process, either send it to an individual or you can use a group and send the information. You have the customer group. You'll see that you have some tools that you can use with them. And as we move forward, you'll see additional resources available. workNet activities. Okay, so whenever you log into your Elmley workNet and open them up, you follow the links and the information within the activity the summary. These activities are so that each of them could be completed within a 2-hour time. The option that you're not restricted to completing each of these within maybe you can incorporate, one or two of the activities into your work, or at least make them aware of some of the things they need to consider. Now, once they save their information, actually at any point in time, they can indicate that they have completed the activity and the review and save their information. Refresh, there it is. The icon checks off that I've completed it, so they can track the activities that they've completed. Let me go back to that activity. I don't always have to go back to my home page. I can navigate from the previous to the next activity within the activity itself as well. Okay, so that's one of the resources that's available. The activities through their Illinois WorkNet account, but you can view the results through the Workforce Professionals Pathway. With the activities as well, we also have a pre-assessment. Last year, areas that they when we come down, you can complete the activities, all the activities. The post-assessment is unlimited. So that's the Illinois WorkNet, My Activities, pre-assessment, activities, and post-assessment and certificates. Let me switch back over to our Workforce Professionals view. Let's take a look at what that might look like from a workforce professional standpoint. So on see that if the person was in previous programs, you'll see their past programs because with all their information that they've completed, the information stays within participated in the summer youth program last year. And if I wanted to review the results from last year, I could take a look at that. I can see there my activities certificate and view that or print it off for them. Then I'll see the activity summary. So you'll see, you'll see the activity, you'll see philo types. For this particular person, theirs was artistic, realistic, and social. And the type of so let me them through the career interest surveys or the interest profilers. So if they have completed, they have several stored results, then you'll be able to take a look at each of those. You have an interest survey completed that says no saved assessments. Another tool that we currently have is the employer evaluation. So for this particular customer, they need to have a work site evaluation. There, the employer I'm looking for. If it's not there, then I just simply add it to the list. Then I can type in the supervisor is the person who actually fills out, they complete the worksite evaluation. So what you'll need to do is download or print the worksite evaluation. It's available here. And you can either give it to them or email it to them, have them complete the worksite evaluation, and now that's how it currently is. So when in the future, oh, I did the change that we're going to be making is to have the employer be able to add that information in directly, but that's not how it is currently set up. So I typed in something wrong here, but you'll be able to see the evaluations available. So those are some of the tools that are available within the excuse me, customer group. So you can do an email only. A user message is a message that goes to their Illinois WorkNet account, or you can do both. Um, you can type in your subject. and a reminder or something like that, or a tip. You can put in, you can use your customer emails just to let them know that they need to turn in a certain form by a certain date, and then you can just simply now this is currently available today, but one of the things that we are also working on an enhancement is basically a subset of your current personal groups. So that is coming, so I want to make sure you are aware of that and keep up to date. I'll let you know whenever that's available. With that, and create subgroups yourself. So just to clarify, each of you have access to, you have one personal group that has all of your customers. And we'll and create subgroups of people so that you can have easy access to that subset of customers. Customers on your, when you come to your customer groups page, you'll be defaulted to your first tab, and you'll see your view all customers in your personal group. And whenever you have subgroups, you'll be able to select them from a drop-down. One of the things that I want to point out too is that I mentioned it before, but I just want to stress it, that the customer workforce professional can have the same person in their customer groups. You see is saved within that customer record. Mike and Chelsea can have the same person all in their customer group, and that information stayed within the individual account. Okay, so we took a look at the pre-assessments and the Illinois WorkNet activities, and we are currently working on and updating some of the assessments. So we do have the existing pre- and post-assessment activities, and those will be updated in the future as well. The Illinois WorkNet My Activities information. We do have the career interest assessments. We have the computer skills assessment. That is currently available as well. But one of the changes that is in the plan is to have there yet, but that's in the plan as well. And I'll show you the customer skills assessment in just a moment. We have the observational assessment that we're adding as well. This was developed by the Chicago Workforce Investment Council. It's used by instructors It's currently used in the Chicago area, and the instructors evaluate their students' workplace skills based on their observation, and there's a rubric and so forth, so that they can go through and provide feedback for that. Then we are adding the NOCD 21st Century Skills Assessment. This is a multiple choice assessment, a 2-hour assessment, and it measures work readiness as well. Implementing an implementation process starting in July, and once they workforce investment areas as well. And then, as I mentioned before, we have the current worksite evaluation, and this is something that an employer would complete the evaluation, and the workforce professional would enter the data. But in the future, we want to make it so that the employer actually completes taking initiative and so forth, your basic workplace skills. And the current setup is that the individual should score 7 out of 10 on the foundation skills with a rating of needs development or higher. Okay, before we go into um, the other resources and the changes that are taking place within LMI WorkNet, I want to quickly go over to the computer skills area. Now with the computer skills, it uses an approach to walk you through, pull you through the information. So we have the starting point where we want to use the computer skills self-survey. And you can either use the wizard approach for the computer skills self-survey, or you can print a version. So if I use the wizard approach, I can say, have you ever used a computer? Yes or no. If I say no and do next, it'll take me to my next steps. So basically, that's the same for each of these questions. Um, the information on where to find the next logical step for your computer training resources to help you build your skills. So let me go back. So we have the computer skills survey as an assessment online or printable. You can take a look at the different skill levels, and then you can also take a look at the resources that are available for either new computer users, intermediate computer users, that's probably going to be the primary bulk of your users, or the technical. So each of them leads them to online resources. So those are some tools that you can use as well. Now, with that said, we will be having some updates to LMI WorkNet that you'll see in just a little bit. Let me go ahead. Before we move on to the new redesign for LMI WorkNet, I want to just do a real quick recap. I have in the handouts an overview. It's basically it's a process flow, and don't get scared by it. It's not complicated. It's just detailed so that you can see, at the decision-making points what happens when and where. So just what we had just talked about, where they activate their Illinois WorkNet account, their customer group account. If it's an individual, do they have an email? Yes, then I can simply enter the email and send them the information. They accept or deny. If they accept it, they're added to my group. If they're not, then they aren't added to my group. If it's an individual and they don't have an email, I use the group process. Or if I'm working with a group, I can just go straight to the group process, print off or display my URL with my passcode. Customer follows the instructions. They accept or deny. If they accept, they're in the group. If they deny, then they're not. Once they accept or deny, then the workforce professional automatically receives an email to notify them that the person is either accepted or denied. Now this is the step 3. It's just a draft or a sample of how you could use assessments within the general workflow. So it's a concept. We have an assessment implementation work group, and based on their feedback, it starts out, you offer an orientation session or have a classroom environment. If it's in a computer lab, great, you follow this path. If it's not, you can follow another path. You can have them take the pre-assessment for my activities. If you wanted to use it as a screening tool, then we could work with you to use it as a screening tool. If you didn't want to use it as a screening tool, that's fine as well. Use your customer groups. They complete the activities. Then once they complete the activities, then through that process, they complete the skills and interest profiler, which you can take a look at all their information, provide feedback, let them know about upcoming events and all that kind of good stuff. And then you can complete the the observational assessment. Again, this incorporates some of the new processes or new tools as well. Again, if they pass or if they don't pass, what are the next steps, and walks you through where they would complete the 21st century, the NACI 21st century skills, and all the way through where an employer the employer could complete the worksite evaluation, and through that, the use of those assessments, then you could come out and have a person provide them with a certificate that says, yep, they've done all these great things, and they've learned a lot, and now they are career and college-ready individual. So that's a lot of information, but I just wanted to make you aware that that handout is available and was part of your webinar materials if you haven't had a chance to review that information. Now I'm going to go to PowerPoint, but I want to switch it over so that if you have any questions, I've been talking quite a bit, and if you have any questions, feel free to jump in and put them into the chat. Okay, so Illinois WorkNet, we do have the redesign and updates, and we have, with the redesign, we have a new look and feel. They're also updating the resume writing tools, so they've already started that process. So your resume builder is no longer going to be, the current one is no longer going to be available, so you should have been receiving notices to let you know that if you or if your customers and your customers who have resumes in the writing tool have been receiving notices that if you have a resume in there and you want it out, then you need to export that. You need to get it out of there because after June 30th, it will not be available. So we'll have updates to our job search tools, and then we're also having updates to our workplace skills. And this is as a result of the assessment implementation work group that I had mentioned earlier. If you haven't already signed up for, I highly, highly suggest and encourage you, please do attend the webinar on June 21st or on June 23rd. This covers the Illinois WorkNet pathway redesign, and so there's a lot of good information that's going to be provided during that webinar that I'm sure that you'll find very useful. So please do join us. The link to register for that webinar, as I mentioned before, we'll be updating the workplace skills information, and it's really in need of a revamp. So what we've done is we're going to use more of a graphical approach instead of just simply providing a page with a lot of information, because there's a lot of information for workplace skills, and it is important. And what we've done is, especially after taking a look at the different types of work readiness assessments and the results and how they compile the results and so forth, what we found is what we needed to do was provide a way to organize the information within Illinois WorkNet and align it with the other assessments and how they organize the information. So what we've taken was a look at the national and state standards, national standards, state level standards, and put them together, compiled them to make definitions for that would provide definitions of what employers would like for each of these areas. And it's already gone through the process to be reviewed by the work group, and it's also in the process of being vetted as we speak. So what we're doing now is working on some of the content. So if you recall, the approach that we used for the computer skills survey used more of an icon approach, so it kind of looks familiar here, these three little icons to draw you through the information. Well, what's going to happen is a person, let's say leadership and teamwork, or my independence and initiative. That's an area that I need to work on. So I would look at my results, click on a link, and it would take me to this page. And I could look at the independent to the section of the wheel, and I would be directed to something similar to what the computer skills survey page is. So I would see my first page, which would have a scenario that says, this is what happened in this work environment, and what would you do in this situation? So when they click on the link, appropriate way to handle this situation, and it would also provide them with the basic definitions of whatever is in that particular area of what employers are looking for, so they can get an overview, something that they can easily scan the document to see, oh, okay, these are some of those skills that fall in that category. Oh, I never really thought of it that way, or what do they mean by this? And they can click on it and find an extended definition. But then they'll also be able to take a look at that page and rate it for themselves. Like, yes, I am, I need help in this area, or oh, I already have that skill. I'm good in that area. So it's kind of a more interactive, making it personal to them. And then with the third page, they have their next steps. So the next steps could take them to the management level or to another area within the wheel. So that was a lot of information I just provided to you too. So again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Just type them in the chat. Then we also, as I mentioned before, we have lots and lots of changes and updates that are coming through Illinois WorkNet. And so it's really important that you stay within the information loop. At the top of each of our pages in our header, we have a place for frequently asked questions and then also social media links and so forth. So you can keep up to date on some of the resources and updates and changes that are being made to WorkNet. So we have Facebook, LinkedIn, our newsletters, Twitter, YouTube, RSS feeds, and so forth. But another way to stay within the information loop is that we also provide emails and account messages. So please, whenever you log in, if you see a green box, whenever you log into your Workforce Professionals Pathway account, it says, and it says you have messages, please go ahead and take a look at those messages because we want to make sure that you're up to date, especially with the changes with. And if you ever have any questions, you can always email me or call me. That's fine. But you can also click on the Need Assistance link on the Workforce Professionals Pathway, and that's where you'll see the FAQ. But then you'll also see a place it says Request Technical Assistance, and that's basically you submit a help desk ticket. Okay. You're an awfully quiet group, but go ahead and enter any chat questions that you might have. I do have a few polling questions here, and if you would, just so I make sure that everybody's on the same page and understands some of the points that were brought up during the webinar, if you could go ahead and answer the polling questions. So the first part is it's important to make sure that the workforce professional